What's up, ladies and gents? Welcome back to another video. So yes, we have finally returned to me sitting down in front of this decent laptop webcam and talking about games. And today we are going to be continuing that tradition and talking about a game that maybe some of you guys don't really feel deserves, I guess, an actual video all on its own, but being a big baseball fan that I am, there were some different things that I wanted to talk about with this game and just sort of give my own thoughts and opinions on it. Not really a review, but just some more of a discussion about this game, because this has been sort of a topic that, or a game that a lot of people have different opinions on. So, of course, we're going to be talking about RBI Baseball 2017 for the Nintendo Switch. And so basically what this game is that the RBI Baseball series has been around since the NES days. Very simple pick up and play, very simple controls, very simple gameplay. You just sort of get in, you play a baseball game with very simple controls, and that's basically about it. And what the RBI Baseball series has always done, even with past iterations like 2016 and 2015, and I'm sure there were some other ones before that as well, I don't really know, but it's sort of kept that same sort of style of the baseball game. So if you're looking for a very deep simulation baseball game, this is definitely not for you. But if you are just a fan of baseball and you want something simple to play, you don't really care about stats or making your own team or going through like a career or something like that, even though this game doesn't have a career mode, essentially. If you don't really care about that extra stuff and you just sort of want to play a baseball game, this probably will be right up your alley. So RBI Baseball 2017, you've got Corey Seager from the Los Angeles Dodgers on the cover there with a really cool sticker. I don't even really know what it says. Let me take a look. Official Major League Baseball. So this is the official game of Major League Baseball. I think that's what I've heard, and I guess that's what the sticker alludes to. If I'm wrong with that, I apologize, but you can see there a pretty cool cover with Corey Seager on there with the sexy Nintendo Switch logo. And then on the back, you've got some stuff there. Some different screenshots. So this is more so of a cartoony kind of game. A lot of the players don't really look all that realistic. The graphics aren't all that good. Again, it's just sort of a very simple baseball game where, you know, the players look decent. They look very cartoony. Their movements, their animations aren't as realistic, but they still look like baseball players, you know, honestly. But the stadiums don't have a lot of detail to them. The crowds are literally just like 2D figures, like 2D cardboard cutout figures. So nothing to write home about there. But again, if you're just looking for a game that you can just sort of put in, sit down, play a game or two, and just have fun, you don't really care about the stats, you don't really care about amazing like baseball presentations, you just want to play a baseball game, you just want to hit a baseball out of the park, maybe throw in some double plays, amazing outfield catches, stuff like that. If you just want to play baseball, this game is for you, I think. So I don't really have any script with this. I'm just sort of talking as things come to my mind. So I did buy this game physically because I like to have the physical game, and so I picked it up at Walmart. I was just in there one day and I saw it, and I was like, you know what? It's almost October. I'm kind of in baseball mode, so yeah, let's go ahead and pick it up. So I did. I saw it there, and I picked it up for $29.99. So not the most expensive game out there, but some may feel that this is a little too expensive for a game such as this. And you can actually get it cheaper on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and I'm not sure if this game is available on PC, but if it is, I would assume it would be a little bit cheaper. But again, I think that's because of the Nintendo Switch cartridge I guess tax, how some of these Switch games are costing a little bit of extra money to have these games physically produced. But anyway, so with the physical edition, it comes with this kind of cool RBI Baseball stick-on patch, which I haven't done anything with. But I thought it was kind of cool that they included something like that. You know, it's not just the actual game card. It's something a little bit extra, which I thought was kind of cool. And then the inside cover, along with all the warranty information, they have sort of the outfield view of Dodger Stadium. I think that's what it's called. I actually don't even know. I'm not a Dodgers fan, so I couldn't tell you. I'm a Cubs fan, actually. But so the inside cover looks pretty decent. It's kind of nice. It's not just a plain white background, and you do get something extra with it too, which is kind of cool. And while I'm over here, I guess I'll just show you the actual cartridge of RBI Baseball. So here we go. Very simple RBI Baseball 2017 with It's kind of hard to tell, but it looks like some stadium is on the picture there. So pretty cool. Again, sort of very bare bones packaging, but I mean, what do you come to expect with these physical games nowadays? So anyway, let's talk about the actual game itself, now that I talked for 5 minutes. So, as I said, this is a very simple baseball game. It's one where you can just kind of get in, sit down, play a few games. There are 3 different modes that you can play through. There's the exhibition mode, where you just pick your teams. You can pick your pitchers. You can do your starting lineup or your batting order. You can change all that stuff and go in, play a game. I believe you can set it for different innings or a different length of innings as well. So if you want to do a game with 7 innings or 9 innings, you can do that too, which I thought was kind of cool. There's also season mode and then postseason mode. So looks like you can kind of go in and just sort of play throughout the whole entire season, and then if you just want to focus on the postseason, you can do that as well, which I thought were some nice additions. I would have liked to have seen maybe like just a couple more modes. One really big downside is that there is no online play with this game, and I know with the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One versions of this game, it didn't have online at first, but they did come out later with an online function to it. So I'm kind of hoping they do the same thing here, although no real word has been established by the developers of this game, so I'm not entirely sure if online will ever be available for the Nintendo Switch version. But with that being said, it's still, fun to just play against the AI. I was gonna say RBI. It's still fun to play against the AI in this game. Even on easy difficulty, they can kind of really make things a bit challenging if you don't pay attention to your pitches and change up your style and different things like that. So I do kind of appreciate that, how the AI still can sort of give you a good challenge, which I thought is really nice. And another great thing about the Switch version of this game is that it offers two-player local play. So you've got your Switch, you got 2 Joy-Cons. Each Joy-Con can be used individually for this game, which is really awesome. Especially, it sort of harkens back to the whole wonder and beauty of the Switch, is that you can kind of take it anywhere. You're playing a baseball game and someone's like, "Oh, you've got RBI Baseball. That's a really fun game that I hear." You can sort of take, a Joy-Con off, hand it to whoever that person is, a friend, a family member, whoever, and you can sit down and you can play an actual game with 2 controllers. Because, like I said, this game is very simple. There's only really one button for pitching and batting, so it's not really a whole lot to do with controls in that department. But for a lot of people, I think that's actually a very good thing. So you can do some 2-player games with that, which I think is really awesome, especially for a console that has a varied history of local couch co-op play, or a company rather, with that being Nintendo. So I think it's very cool that you can do that. You can still play locally with somebody. It's not just a single-player experience, which is always good. So in that aspect, it's cool. Like I said, I do wish there was some multiplayer play, or a multiplayer mode, or a online play mode in here. But again, hopefully maybe they'll add it along the line somewhere down the line. Who knows? We don't really know. I would also like to have seen just a couple of other different modes to be able to play through, like a home run derby mode. I think would have been really cool. Just picking a player and just going at it, going through a home run derby contest. I thought that would have been cool. Maybe sort of like a training session too, I guess. I don't know. But again, this is sort of more so just sort of a pick up and play baseball game where there's not really a whole lot of different things to do in it. So it really sort of lends itself to the fact that this is, harkening back to like the NES games, which I think is really cool to have that, because a lot of people love those games, and I think it's kind of cool to have just sort of something simple like that, just something that you can sort of pick up and play. You don't have to go through a whole spiel about this giant and expansive simulation baseball game. I think it's kind of nice for people to have options. So in that regard, I think this is cool. So talked a little bit about graphics, talked a little bit about modes. So how does the game play? Well, I've mentioned numerous times now that this is very simple. So what I mean by that is there are no announcers, there are no umpires, there's not really any voiceovers per se. Like if you get someone out, like you'll just hear a disembodied voice say out or safe or strike 3 or ball or whatever. So that's kind of interesting. But the gameplay itself is very simple. So you can move your character around. So if you're batting before the ball is pitched to you, you can move your character within the batter's box, which again is very similar to the NES game of RBI Baseball. And you can do that. You can swing with the B button. You can change if you want to hit like a fly ball. You can pull the control stick down, and the ball will more or less go in like a fly ball motion. If you want to go for like a ground ball, you can push the analog stick up and then swing. You can also bunt, and you can aim your bunt too, which is kind of nice. Aside from that, there's not really any differences in batting, which is a little bit interesting. But again, this game is very simple. Not a lot going on with that. So batting, fairly straightforward. Pitching, pretty much the exact same way. You press B to throw a normal pitch. You hold down and then pitch to throw a fastball, and then you hold up and then press B to pitch like an actual. Sorry. You hold up and press B to do like a breaking pitch. So it will like go in the dirt, or I think it pretty much just goes in the dirt, but it's usually a slow ball, kind of like a curve, a changeup that goes in the dirt, and your opponent will swing at the ball thinking that's going to be higher, but it actually ends up lower. So that's sort of where the pitching comes into. You can also do pickoff attempts. So if you have a runner on first or second or even third, I guess third base, even though it's not really a thing, you can attempt a pickoff throw. A lot of times doesn't really work, like in the real game, like in real baseball and played in real life, but you can still do that, which I think is a nice addition. You can steal bases as well. Again, very simple. You just sort of tap a button and your runner will run for that base. Base running you can also do. You can have all runners advance if you have more than one person on base at a time, or you can specifically select which base runner you would like to advance. So you can do that too, and you can also return all runners and then return just one singular base runner, which is beneficial as well. So I thought it was nice that they included that in there as well. Fly balls, essentially sort of the same thing. At first, when you start up the game, if you have a fly ball indicator, it remains it like moves around. So like the indicator on the actual outfield will move around, and you sort of have to follow that. I wasn't really used to that. Like all the other baseball games I've played, it would have a static fly ball indicator of where the ball would actually land. And for me at first, trying to get used to the one that moves around was a little weird. So there is an option to change that, which I was very helpful for, or very grateful for rather, because I don't know if I'd be able to do it the other way, although I probably could, but it was a little strange and a little awkward at first, but it was nice that you can change that. And you can also change the control scheme as well. So not so much that it completely changes everything, but you can basically switch from classic controls to modern controls. And the thing about classic controls that sort of was a little interesting. So let's say that you have a ground ball and you're playing on defense. So you have a ground ball and it goes to your shortstop and you want to throw it to first base. Well, if you have played like MLB The Show or anything like that, if you want to throw the first base, it would be the right face button, not like the correct face button, the right face button. So you'd hit that, it would throw to first base. So the face buttons sort of look like a baseball diamond, right? So you've got the bottom one, which is home plate, the right one, which is first base, top is second, and left is third, right? So in this game with the classic controls, you have to sort of hold down the direction on the directional pad, or like the analog stick, and then press the B button to throw, which at first was a little interesting to me. It took a little bit of time for me to get used to that, and I did after a while, but I was like, I'd really just like to hit the right button in order to throw to first base, or hit the top button to throw to second base. So that would be like A and X on the Joy-Con or the Pro Controller, whatever it is that you're using. And so I was like, man, that kind of sucks. So I was going through the settings and I saw it, and it said you can change it to modern controls, which was very helpful. So it sort of assigns first base to A, second base to X, third base to Y, and B to home. So that made things quite a bit easier, just for me, just because that's how I used to play like MLB The Show on PS3, PS2, PS3, PS4. And so it was nice to sort of have that control system back. So I thought that was very helpful, and definitely made me, I think, a little bit of a better player. So again, very, very simple baseball mechanics here. You've got batting, you've got pitching, you've got base running, you've got fielding, different things like that. So all MLB teams are here. You've got the Cubs, which is my team. You've got the Dodgers. You've got the Indians, you've got the Brewers, you've got the Reds, the Cardinals, any team that you can think of, you've got them here. And what's really cool also is that the rosters are up to date as well. So there are, once you boot up the game, it will ask you if you want to use like the current roster that is, you know, going on in the real world, which I thought was kind of cool. So you're not just stuck with just one single roster throughout the entire game. And like if you just want to manually, you could still manually move players around to just form it how you want to, although it's not the most effective way of doing so. But you still are able to do that. It just doesn't really offer as much in terms of the other games, but you can still do that as well. And I think it's really nice that they are allowing you to use like dynamic rosters and things like that. So I thought that was really kind of cool. So like the other night, the Cubs were playing, and Kyle Schwarber was in left field, I believe, instead of like Ben Zobrist or Ian Happ or somebody who I can't really remember who it was. But when I booted up the game, it was using the exact same batting lineup that was on the game in real life in this game. And so I thought that was really kind of cool, and how it sort of plays into that effect pretty well for a game that's supposed to be really simple. So I thought that was really cool, and from what I can tell, all of the players' numbers are correct. So like Jake Arrieta is 49. You know, even teams that I don't really follow, I know, somewhat know the different numbers that players have, and so like those were all correct. Their batting stances, of course, as I mentioned before, the animations aren't the best in the game. When I say in the game, I mean like in general, but animations aren't really the best around, but they do sort of get the job done. So like Jason Hayward bats left, he stands in the correct batter's box. Anthony Rizzo also bats left. Chris Bryant bats right. He stands in the correct box. So all of that stuff is there. Their batting stances don't really seem to change all that much. And aside from the players' numbers on the back, it's kind of hard to tell who is who. But again, this game doesn't really focus on graphics very much. It just sort of focuses on having fun, playing a game of baseball, and just enjoying yourself. So it would have been cool to maybe see a little bit of difference between the players and things like that. But again, as I said, that doesn't really factor into my enjoyment of the game. It would have been a nice touch, though. But as a whole, I really enjoy RBI Baseball. It's just fun to just pop in, sit down, and play a game or two, and just have some fun. Like if you are a baseball nut who loves the different stats and, you know, ERA and innings pitched and all these different types of things, this game probably isn't for you. It does have stats in here, so like at the end of every game, it lists, you know, who did what for what inning, which I thought was kind of cool for those that sort of want that specific baseball feel, I guess, to it. So that I thought that was kind of interesting to include and awesome to include, actually. But if you're looking for something a little bit more in depth, again, this game isn't for you. But if you just love playing baseball and you like the game of baseball and you like playing baseball games and you want to play something simple, I definitely think RBI Baseball is going to make you happy. I was trying to think of something else to say, but I couldn't think of it. Another thing, too, is that this game is very fast-paced. So not a lot of time between pitches that are thrown. Everything is very snappy. I was watching another review on YouTube earlier today, and it was saying that the game was kind of sluggish. I don't really know where they got that idea from, but for me, I think everything seems pretty snappy. Like when your character goes for a ball and you want to throw the ball to the certain base, it seems like there is sort of a little bit of delay, but it's just because the player is trying to get to the ball. But your character does throw it, and a lot of times it is in time. Nothing ever seemed too laggy, which I don't really. Maybe that reviewer wasn't talking about lag, but more so just. Sorry, I got an email. I was just reading my email, but it didn't seem sluggish to me at all. It seemed responsive. Of course, it's not the most fluid game around, but everything works. It's functional. It's a functional game, and the animations, again, don't look the best, but they do work. So I didn't really feel like it was all that sluggish. Like, of course, it takes a while to get to a fly ball, but again, if your right fielder is over here and the ball is over here, it's going to take a while for the right fielder to get over there. I guess you could use the center fielder, but everything seemed fine. It didn't feel sluggish to me at all. Everything is very fast paced. There's not a lot of time between pitches. And even like if a character hits a foul ball, there's not really a lot of time between each pitch. So, and even like if your batter strikes out, like literally 2 seconds later, your next batter is up. Like there's not like a walk-up scene that says, okay, next batter, Chris Bryant. There's nothing like that. So it's very fast-paced. So it didn't seem sluggish to me at all. So that was always good too. I think that's a really important factor in this game as well. So again, like I said, not the greatest game I've ever played. Not the greatest baseball game I've ever played. I think MLB The Show is obviously a million times better than RBI Baseball, but that's in terms of presentation and depth and substance and graphics and animations and everything like that. But if you're just looking for a fun, simple game that you want to play with just by yourself or with a family member or a friend or something like that, I think RBI Baseball is more than enough and can provide some decent playtime and have some fun with it as well. And like I said, I've been playing this game quite a bit. I think I've played like 5 games already. I don't know. It's just kind of addicting. Like I've always liked playing baseball games, and so a lot of times I don't really care exactly what it looks like. And again, this sort of harkens back to the original NES game, which I had a ton of fun with as a kid. I didn't play it all that often because I was kind of too young for the NES. I grew up more so with like the Super Nintendo, but I did play it a little bit when I was a kid, and I had a ton of fun with it, and this really reminds me of that. So if you like sort of that specific formula, I think you will love RBI Baseball 2017. It is $30. You can get it retail. You can get it on the eShop right now. You can go download it. So yeah, those are just my thoughts on RBI Baseball 2017. Again, not the most perfect game in the world, but it is fun if you're not expecting much. It's just fun to sort of pop in, play a few games, and that's it. So if you're a baseball fan, I would recommend it, but if you're looking for more so of something with a little bit more substance and depth, this probably won't be for you, but if you just want to play something fun, this game's for you. So I know I've said that like 1,000 times, but I'm saying it again, so there you go. So RBI Baseball 2017 for the Nintendo Switch, also available on PS4 and Xbox One. It might be available on PC as well, but again, it's a fun game. It's a fun game. You can see some of the screenshots there. Looks very simple, looks a lot like the old school games. Again, the animations and the players don't look as good, but still very fun. So anyway, those are my thoughts on RBI Baseball 2017. So yeah, I think I'm going to go play a little bit now, actually, because the Cubs just clinched the NL Central Division last night, and that's really cool. Hoping they can do something with the World Series again this year, although the Dodgers and the Astros are pretty dangerous. So we'll see what happens, but I might just play a few games with the Cubs and Astros, and I don't know. We'll see what happens. But so yeah, that's my thoughts. I almost said review. My thoughts on RBI Baseball 2017. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope to have some more videos on some other games in the future as well. Probably do something for Mario Odyssey once that comes out, because that'll probably be the next game that I purchase, either that or Fire Emblem Warriors, because I really want to play both those games, but I think Mario obviously is a little bit higher than Fire Emblem Warriors. But yeah, we'll probably do some more gameplay discussions and things like that, and just sort of talk about gaming in general and different things like that. So anyway, that's going to do it for today, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you guys have a fantastic day, and take care.